yeah, so that's it.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Wow.
So yeah, oh, no.
Nope.
That's nothing.
Don't worry about that.
Something. Don't look at it.
Okay, so yeah, we're Koala Tea Animation. We make those. We started those 3-4 months ago. Started like first like pre-production on those, but we animate. So I'm gonna throw it over to Kirsty. She's gonna tell us about that.
All right, so none of you pretty much don't know who we are. So I'm Kirsty. I am the project manager and community manager for Koala Tea. And this is Craig. He animates for us, and he's also our creative director. And then Molly here is our lead artist. She pretty much draws everything that you see in these animations. And for like quick history of who we are and what we do, Craig and I have been like best friends for 4 years because we're like super old. And yeah, I know, right? We're really old. And we like to create a lot of stuff together. We play video games all the time together. We create YouTube videos. We all have our own channels. And we're like, hey, do you want to like create a company or something? Because that'd be cool, right? And so we decided we wanted to create a company, but we're like, what kind of company can we create? Like, what do people like to see? At first, we wanted to create a t-shirt company because I'm a designer. And we're like, whatever, we'll do that. And we did that for like a week, and we're like, what kind of name should we have? Couldn't figure out a name for our stupid company. And we're like, nah, we're gonna do animations. So we completely flipped. And we decided to create these animations for a lot of people. In the beginning, we liked to create like original content. If anyone has, I mean, you guys don't know who we are. So what we used to do was we would create original content with like us three in it, and we'd talk through it, and each person would voice act our own person. And then we were like, we're gonna create some Funhouse stuff to get our name out there mostly. But it's been awesome because the Funhouse community is like super cool, and they're really supportive of what we're doing. And so we completely love that. We met Molly last year at RTX, and that's pretty much how she came part of the weird thing of what we are.
Trio.
We don't care about us. No.
Yeah, did anybody go to the artist community panel
Last year?
yesterday?
Or yesterday?
Or last.
Or last year, whatever.
Yeah, we went last year, Molly and I.
Yeah.
Separately. Separately, we didn't know each other.
Yeah.
I
No,
had seen
we stalked her on
Molly's-
Twitter first, and
Yeah, I'd
then
seen-
we found her.
I'd seen Molly's art on Twitter before, and that's probably like the best way to find people. Is just
Yeah.
other RT people on Twitter. She made some cartoon about Lindsay and Michael doing something.
It was an RT podcast drawing
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
with
It was.
the demon washing machine,
Demon washing machine.
something like that.
So I saw that, and I followed her. Then I liked all her art and stuff. And then I
stalking.
saw her. You asked a question at the panel.
Yeah.
And then I grabbed you aside, and I was like, "Hey, I like your art."
Yeah, it's pretty
She was
scary.
like, "Oh, all right." I was like, "Okay, bye." Then we didn't talk again for the rest of the day until the laser team auditions the next day.
Oh man,
And then
that was a good day.
yeah, and then so I saw her again in line. I was like, "Hey, these are my friends." And I introduced her, Kirsty, and my cousin Michael.
I have no memory of this, just so you know.
Yeah, and then so I did that, and then I was like, well, and I pulled Kirsty aside. I was like, hey, maybe we should like talk to her. She does art and stuff. That's pretty
It's kind of
cool.
cool. I don't know.
And
Whatever.
then a month later, I asked you to start doing stuff with us.
No.
No.
Wait, what?
Wait, no, a
See-
couple months
see-
later.
No. See,
Was
Okay.
it like,
what
was it like a day later?
What happened was I recognized Craig from Twitter, so I was like, oh, that's Craig. He favorites all my stuff. And then I followed him back on Twitter after RTX. And then back in December of last year, he DM'd me on Twitter and was like, hey, we want to do this thing. Do you want to come on? And I was like, yeah, sure. Which I didn't think this was going to be like a thing, but at
Hey,
first,
when I say it's a thing, it's a thing.
but it
We
was
get
a
stuff
thing.
done.
Yeah, so that's kind of how we met. I mean, you start a company by just saying, hey, let's start a company, and then you go down to the courthouse and you wait for 3 hours to get a paper, and they send you that paper 9 to 10 days.
And then you elope to Mexico.
Yeah, and then you make a Twitter account. You got a company.
Yep.
2015, everybody. Molly, you want to talk a little bit more about? Well, I guess we talked about our personal lives. We're going off topic here. And so we're going to talk a little bit about how we actually make our animations from, concepts to right up there, posting it up there and tweeting at people. So let's get in. So Kirsty, why don't you start us off?
So first we're going to talk about what we actually use for our animations. So to create our animations, we use Blender, which is an open source free animation program. So if you're getting into animation and you can't buy Maya or Poser or Toon Boom, Blender is free and it's open source. So you can use it however you want. It's a little bit different though, and the controls are different, but you can switch them over. So it's really easy to use. So that's what we use for animation. To create the actual artwork, we use mostly Photoshop and Illustrator. We do like to promote free stuff, but it's kind of hard to get around a nice free art kind of style place to work, right?
Yeah.
Art program.
Yeah, an art
Yeah.
program that's free. But
You can use
what do you use
for
sometimes?
vector stuff. I use Inkscape, but that's more for design.
Yeah.
Something like Photoshop's kind of tough, so
Yeah.
get Photoshop.
I mean, you can get Photoshop through subscriptions now too.
This
So
is not ad for
Yeah.
Adobe products.
yeah, buy all the Adobe products and you're good to go.
We do use a lot of Adobe products though.
Yeah. And to communicate, we use Skype, which kind of sucks.
Okay, calm down.
We-
It's okay.
Every time we talk on Skype, you complain about how much it sucks. So,
Internet sucks.
internet sucks.
Internet
But Skype is good if you need a face-to-face communication, because we actually all live away from each other, and we
Yeah.
can't meet each other very often.
This is the first time that I've seen Craig and Kirsty since last RTX in person.
We're internet friends.
Yeah, basically.
So we all like to communicate through Skype. Sometimes we'll switch it over, and mostly we'll text if we need anything quick, but mostly our meetings where we sit down and talk about how to create things, how to make things work is through Skype. For our files, we use Dropbox. It's really great because it backs up your files, and if you delete anything, you can find it within
30 days.
30 days. If you have an actual account through, if you buy an actual account, it's a year, I think, that it backs up your stuff. And so that's really awesome to use. You can also use Google Drive because that keeps your stuff for a long time as well. For organization, we actually just decided to organize ourselves because we've been picking up a lot of projects. And we decided to use Trello. It's free. It's really great. It's actually, it's where you make lists on how to get stuff done.
It is a digital corkboard.
Yep, pretty much. And there's also an app, so if you're away, you can check what your list is and be like, hey, I got my animation done, check it off the list.
Yeah.
So those are pretty much all the stuff we use. I don't think we're missing anything else, right?
Other Adobe products.
Yeah.
We'll get into it when we talk about editing.
Mhm.
But it's Adobe Audition, Adobe Premiere Pro. After Effects has some effects, but the thing is we use Blender, so you can do effects in Blender as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So then let's get on to the phases of how we do things. So there's 5 phases. These are kind of loose phases. You can do them in order. You can do them out of order. And you can do a bunch at a time. So let's start off with brainstorming. So this is specifically, all this is for the Funhouse Anime Productions. That video is this process. All the other productions, they usually have a different pipeline. Sometimes it's storyboarding. You have to send it back to people that are commissioning the animation. That's a completely different thing. This is just for Funhouse Anime Productions. So most of the time, we'll start off by watching Funhouse, which is always the best part of this whole thing. I watch every single thing that
Yeah.
Funhouse puts out
Me too.
a lot of times. And then we think of what can we do? So we ask these questions, right? When we're thinking of what we can animate out of these videos. So first, what can be animated? Can this be animated? Is it possible to animate this with our characters with visual jokes?
We try to take stories that they talk about mostly because, you don't need to animate things that they're doing.
Yeah, well, it's hard with Funhouse because it's gameplay.
Yeah.
But things like RTA is a little bit easier because they do podcast stories and there's no visual cues on that at all.
No.
But then we ask ourselves, what should be animated? Do they make Photoshop jokes already? Sometimes they'll throw in Thomas Boonty doing some weird stuff,
Yeah.
or all that kind of stuff. It's well, should we animate that? It's already funny enough. And there's plenty of other stuff that we can be animating. And then it's what will be worth animating. Is this going to get a lot of views because people like it? What are people want to watch? Will it be worth our time to animate this? And then I'll ask questions, how are we going to do this? do we have to draw a lot of things? Do we have to do backgrounds? Do we have to do this, that? And that ties in with what can be animated, what should be animated, and so on and so forth. That's basically it. And then you choose something, you write it down on a list, and then you pick from that list when you start animating. And then, so let's talk about phase 2, which is concepts. I'm going to throw it over to Molly.
Okay, so my job is to create assets for the videos. That means characters, props, backgrounds, anything that's in the animation. My job is to draw it. We used to use Illustrator for most of it, but then we found out that it didn't quite look vectors don't look quite as organic as we wanted. So we switched over to Photoshop for Funhouse animations. So right now we have all of the guys from Funhouse pretty much finished, so they're ready to go whenever they want.
Well
Wow.
then, Craig.
Okay.
He's trying to be like all nonchalant, be like,
So they're ready to go for whichever video we want. So basically my process is the characters start with really rough sketches, which usually means taking, it's basically caricaturing the Funhouse guys. So like, okay, so Bruce has a big forehead, so I should absolutely incorporate that into Bruce's character. Or maybe the fact that Spool's eyes never actually open, so that should probably be a part of it as well. So then I send over rough turnarounds and stuff like that over to Craig. He approves them, or he says, no, do that again. And so usually by the second time around, I've got it because he's pretty specific about what I want to do. And I also create prop sheets, backgrounds, etc. Craig, can you go over to the next video?
Alright.
Okay, so this is a speed draw of Joel's rig. So,
oh, it's not gonna play.
It's broken.
Oh no.
Craig, please. You're killing me. I can still talk about it. It's fine. Okay, so basically, what happens when I create characters in Photoshop is shut up. It usually is like I have a rough sketch that I use on the background, and then I create each piece of that character, piece by piece. I line and color them in Photoshop. So every single layer is labeled very specifically so that when Craig gets that file, he can split it up easily and can take it into the rigging process. So everything from the head, the eyes, the eyebrows, the legs, the feet, their stumpy little arms, doesn't matter. All of that has to be layered out, unfortunately. I hate it, but it has
You
to be
hate
done.
it?
I do.
You're
I would
an
rather
artist.
I would rather just draw it. But that's the way things are. So basically with the characters themselves, we had to kind of figure out what is the easiest thing to animate style-wise. So after I did those rough sketches, Craig was like, okay, so I like how you did this sketch. Like, go back to the Bruce sketch real quick. See, like that Bruce in the corner right there? No, oh my god, Craig.
I got it. All right.
That Bruce
I
in the
was
corner,
supposed to do this, so.
the Bruce in the corner there with his big old head and his little beady eyes. So we decided to stick with that, but make the body really small. And that makes it a lot easier for Craig to animate. It's all about aesthetic and also what can Craig do with it. So you gotta make it appealing and then also functional. So then I also do prop sheets, which Craig usually tells me, hey, can you draw some phallic looking objects? And I'm like, okay, I guess so.
We'll show the next animation.
It'll make more sense.
I'm not asking my artists to just draw phallic objects and keep our hands
Yeah,
busy.
my Google search history is officially ruined, by the
Well, we had a
way.
text message chain where we're thinking of ideas, and I said, well, guys, I wrote this into here. Let's think of phallic objects.
It was the best.
So that, I mean, we're on a list somewhere.
Yeah, the NSA is definitely watching us right now.
They're like, there's too many food objects on this list. What are
Yeah.
they doing?
They're judging us for a phallic object.
And then also, Craig has to tell me, okay, so I like what you did with those anime eyes, but they are not sparkly enough, so you need to fix that as well. So usually Craig gets most of the final say. I'll also consult Kirsty on a lot of this stuff just because, it helps to have a second opinion to prevent Craig from being like, I'm the hammer of justice, I say what goes, and
Yeah.
etc.
I'm kind of part of this,
I do
right?
say what
Yeah,
goes.
you
I'm part
are.
of this company, right?
You are. All right, so Craig, can you go ahead and talk about rigging?
Yeah, so let's so we're gonna move on to rigging and animating. This is really the meat of how we do everything. You know, the concepts and everything. We get kind of a rough idea of what we do, but then how we actually do it is we use Blender. All right, we do it in a 2D style in a 3D program. I'm sure most of you guys know Blender, right? Yeah. Have anybody worked in Blender before?
Nice.
Okay, good number of you guys. So you kind of understand what I'm saying. Anybody worked in a 3D program before?
Nice.
Most people?
What
Okay.
kind? Maya?
3ds Max?
Yeah. Me too. Yep.
Okay. So you guys follow along. So I mean, you can tell we do 2D animation in, you know, Blender.
Duh.
And so it's all on the Z-axis. You know, it's flat images. We use orthographic cameras. That's pretty simple stuff. But the rigging is what makes it different. It's not cutout animation. We have hybrid rigs where part of it is this curved look right here, which we make. Well, I'll kind of explain how we do that. That's part of the deformation rig. We use hybrid rigs, so it's deformation rig and cutout animation rig. And you guys probably seen cutout animation rig if anybody's a fan of X-Ray and Vav. I believe they do that in Toon Boom. And cutout rigs there. You can also do deformation stuff. I'm sure they do. And then also South Park does cutout animation. I'm sure everybody's pretty much familiar with that. And then, so basically just the deformation is just, you know, deforming whatever image or whatever object along a certain line. So in this, you can see that it's an armature, which is just a set of bones, and attached to a Bezier curve, which can be animated as so. You can make curves like that. You know, this is a pretty common technique in Toon Boom, which is the industry standard for 2D animation, but it's about $3,000 a year per person that uses it, which for someone who doesn't have any money or company doesn't have any money is kind of terrible right off the bat. So what you can do with free programs, do that first. And the problem is these hybrid rigs, I've never seen them done very well in other programs. I know a lot of other programs have tried to do it, but it's not perfect, and so that's where I came to Blender to try to figure it out. But the rigging is basically like a 3D character. You know, we use armatures, we attach to bones, all this kind of stuff. You know, you deform to bones just like you would if you're using a 3D character. And so, I mean, it's pretty easy. So if you know how to use a 3D program, or you can learn how to use a 3D program, because it's a lot bigger in the US. If anybody's like, you know, from the UK or anything, I know that 2D animation is bigger there, but 3D animation is all we do here, basically, just because it's cheaper. So yeah, I import these flat images into Blender. I will piece them out. So you can see on the right there, that's the 3/4 view of Joel, which actually isn't rigged yet. He might be in the next animation. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And so I piece him out in Photoshop, and he looks like that deformed, or the, you know, apart person to the left, just everything pieced out. Looks kind of creepy before you actually put them together. And so basically, what parts are deformation rig and what parts are cutout animation? Arms, eyebrows, torso, legs, feet are all deformation rig parts, and then the head, eyes, and then the hands, which you can't see here but are on a different, those, and mouths are all part of the cutout animation. You know, and the cutout stuff you see everywhere, even with Flash, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. So I bring Joel, take Joel, say, hey Joel, come on, we're going to the Blender. Import him into Blender using import images and planes. That's a script that you have to turn on in Blender. Import that in, gives you a plane that's texturized. You cut them up with a knife tool into pieces. So you got these pieces here, but you have to cut it out of the same plane, so you're not using too many textures. And then I just will subdivide them, so I'll put everything with more faces, and I'll create these armatures that you see on the left, just a straight line down with a Bezier curve, and I mean, I can really kind of go in here. We can get out of this. I'll pull up Blender. I'm gonna do some live rigging right here.
This
Live
is a
rigging.
tutorial. Make sure you watch it.
Exclusive.
So we pull up Blender. It takes a little bit because this is kind of a bigger file than most of the time. It'll come up. So yeah, I'll make these armatures, and then I'll use the Spline AK tool, which is a tool that is it's not exclusive to Blender, but I've seen it the best in Blender. I believe Maya has a tool just like it. Boy, this is going slow. That's the problem with, we use very high-res textures. So sometimes you'll get this where it does not want to move at all. This isn't perfect, but you can kind of see. I also don't use my Mac to animate. So you kind of see this in action. If I hide these things. You see it in action here. It's got a control for each part of the Bezier curve. And you can move this. You can usually go pretty far with it. You don't want to push it, or you'll get these right here. You can, I mean, this is getting into kind of like really meta of animating these. You can negate that, but that means higher res textures and more faces, which will slow down even more than it is right now. So you can do that. You can put them up here. You can do weird crap with Bruce.
Break his arm.
He's pretty fun. He's pretty fun to do with, just because he's a weirdo.
Look at that. That's terrible.
What are you talking about? His eyes aren't there. So you can see this is the head is just on a bone, and it's its own image. It's linked in right now, but you can move him around. You can put it over here.
Looking good.
You can move this right here. Really get him into his crotch.
Bruce has
Really-
never looked better.
Really get him in there. And James is over here just loving it.
He's all over it.
And
Oh
then
my
Adam's
God.
just, I don't think I animate Adam that much at all. He just looks like this 24/7.
He's just annoyed with them all the time.
So yeah, so I mean, like, this is kind of a complicated, I'd have to do like a really big tutorial, which we might do a video or two that you can watch. But that's basic. It's this armature that's on a Bezier curve that the torso or the arms or anything are deformed to, so you can control it and do weird crap like this. And that's the majority of this rig. And then you get into the eyes and mouths rigs, which are a bunch of different drawings put on top of each other, controlled by a driver rig. And what that is just a rig that says, when this image is up, tell everything else to disappear, so it's the only image. And you control that with custom properties. So you can turn his eyes to, completely open, closed and laughing, or hurt, super happy. And this is for everyone. We draw everyone's eyes out. The anime eyes aren't usually attached to the rig because they're per animation. James has a squint for some reason. And so there's a few here. And then the hands are the same way, but there's a lot more hands. So you can, so you can basically, you just make one visible, and make the other one invisible. And then, then you got them pointing. And then we have a ton of different hands that you can do. They're all on top of each other. It looks really weird. Like when you're rigging, you're like, this is not gonna look good. And then you get it to you finally get everything. Like, look at this. Look how many hands there are.
What is that?
Once you render that out, it looks perfect.
This is like 20 hands.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I had to draw every single one, just so
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. and
You're
so
the
we have-
artist, Molly.
So we have a bunch of hands. You guys kind of saw it earlier. We have a bunch of mouths, and these are all drawn in Photoshop, pieced out. I import them in just like I do everything else. These are all the mouths and hands. It will change the color of hands for each person. Everybody's kind of a different color. Yeah, but then it's that driver rig, which is not too complicated to set up. There's a couple of videos, but once again, like if people want to see it, we'll make videos of, you know, very in-depth Blender stuff. I don't want to bore you guys with all this. I want to make Bruce do weird things. That's, you know, don't quote me on that, please. That's really.
No, he wants to do weird things with Bruce.
So yeah, I mean, some of these tools are 2D animation, like are in 2D animation programs, like switching between drawings. That's basic 2D animation. Flash does that. Toon Boom does that. All that kind of stuff. But if you want to do it in Blender, it's a little bit complicated. But 1, it's free. 2, it looks pretty dang good. And 3, it's free. So yeah, I think that's
pretty much all.
That's good for the rigging. Well, I want to play the animation. This is our other animation, amateur snowboarder. Since I can't play kind of the animating part of it, I promised these played before we got into the.
It's
into
always how it
RTX.
happens.
I swear we were prepared.
It's like a speed. It's a speed, like a speed drawing, but it's a speed video of me animating and then animating the mouths as well. I do those separately, but we'll just watch another animation. How about
We'll
that?
probably upload all of our speed stuff on our channel at some
Yeah,
point.
we can.
Yeah.
So subscribe to it. We'll just watch another animation.
Yay.
It's like twice as good.
Twice as good. So nice you'd watch it twice.
This one's called
Please
Amateur
do.
Snowboarder. And we won't start in the middle. This is actually the wrong one. But it says Bruce adopts a disc, but that's wrong.
It's okay.
It's
Don't worry
Amateur
about it.
Snowboarder. All right. So you can kind of tell that was a little bit more complicated than the first one. It also took double the time. So yeah, I mean, so that's just, you know, that's animation. So I'm not, you know, I'm sorry if you came to animation for me to give you like an easy, like, oh, you guys just go watch this video and you'll be perfect in animation. I've been animating for 6 years, and 3 of those years were like actually trying to do it, and I suck. I do those. Like, no, other people that animate for 3 years are like making the next Pixar, and I'm over here dicking around. Because animation's tough, you know, and if you don't go to school for it, or you don't dedicate your life to it, you're not gonna get better. So all I can tell you is go watch videos about animation and start doing it. You pick up Blender or pick up a pen and paper, learn, 12 fundamentals of animation, and then make stupid crap and get money for it.
What Craig is telling you is that when it comes to animation, there is no excuse ever to not animate, because
Don't worry about
Yeah.
Don't worry about trying to be the next best
be
animator
like Shia
in the
LaBeouf
world.
and just do it.
Oh my God, Molly!
Oh
I
my
can't
God.
believe you brought that up.
Did you put that in your notes?
I know, right?
I just came up with that right now.
Okay,
Wow.
well, stop.
Comedy gold.
You're terrible at it. So.
But the way that I do it, so I've been animating for 3 years, probably 2 years with Blender, even. I use Toon Boom, I use Flash, I've used a couple things. But yeah, Blender is kind of my favorite thing to do, just because I like 3D animation, or like 3D animation tools. And, you kind of saw that where you can actually, it's very upfront. You grab, something and it's attached to a Bezier curve and it moves the arm like this. That's easier than some tools like in Flash where you have to you draw everything or you use cutout, and I'm just like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do any of that. But there's basically 2 parts of actually animating here. There's the phase where I go in and I'll animate everybody doing stuff. That's hands moving, arms moving around. Basically, there's no mouths when I do all this, but I take a clip from whatever we're animating. So in this, it was from, what was this one called? the video of this one. Funhouse has really weird.
Wasn't it?
Wasn't
What
it
if
like
I fingered
yeah?
you?
What if I fingered you?
What if I fingered you?
Yeah.
Was the video name? So I had that on my hard
There you
drive.
go. Sorry, mom and dad.
Sorry, FBI.
So I extract the audio from that and bring it into Adobe Audition, cut out the pieces that I want of it, put that together, and then I bring it into Blender and I start animating the movements to it. And that's usually I don't do the faces, I just do the body movements, and then I'll move on to mouths. I'll lip sync and I'll bring the mouth into one blend file and I'll just put the audio on and I'll just lip sync to my heart content. And that's probably one of the most boring parts of it. You just gotta, a lot of these boring parts, you just gotta sit down and just power through them. Then I'll do the faces, like if an eyebrow changes or goes up and down, or he gets mad. I'll put the mouth on there, and then I'll kind of like look how his face looks all together. And that's basically the process. I just narrow it down. I do one thing at a time, and then after 5 or 6 days, you have an animation.
What
that looks okay.
Craig is really good at, just so you guys know, is doing really subtle stuff, and he kills himself on that because he'll work like an extra 5 days that he doesn't need to work just for like a perfectly timed like Adam shrug
a perfectly
or
timed
whatever.
backflip.
Yeah, perfectly timed backflip.
Was that what you were doing for this one? You're like, man, I need to like spend 5 days on this backflip.
Whoa, sick.
Whoa,
Yeah.
man. What was that, like 2 seconds?
Look at all that subtle animation. He's doing nothing.
You're welcome for that compliment.
It's
Craig.
his face that really gets me there.
Yeah,
you know?
because I can totally see that.
He makes it all worth it. But yeah, that took me forever to do. And then the falling down. The problem with this next part is freaking James didn't want to fall down this stupid thing. Look how bad that is, guys. It's terrible.
He's tucking and rolling.
Look at it.
Second roll.
It's so bad. But you do those things, and I spent a week on this.
Craig, don't
and
tell them we're bad.
It's a minute. It's a minute and a half video, which explains, you don't need to take forever on a video. If it's a crappy video that you're gonna show to your friends, spend a day or two on it. If it's a video you're gonna send to Funhouse, spend less time on it.
They don't care. You're like, hey, this is great, but I think it's amazing. But you're like, nah, it sucked.
No, it sucks. What are you talking about? Hire us.
Yeah.
So that's animation. It's getting down. It's learning whatever you need. It's learning the fundamentals. It's learning a program, and then it's doing stuff. I've made animations that do not see the light of day. I have and a lot of ones that have seen the light of day that should not have seen the light of day, that are just awful, and I wish that I could just go back and kick myself right in the places, because
That was
Like, what?
before we started.
before we started doing that, I was like, what are you doing? Like, delete these off of everything.
Didn't you delete them?
I did not. They're all. You got to look back on the crappy things that you've done to make
It's
sure
true.
that you never do them again.
You gotta learn.
So once I'm done with animating, I'll render it out. Usually takes, for a minute and a half video, it'll take an hour. Rendering will take up your time. That's in video editing. That's in animation. Rendering just takes a long time. And then we'll come down. Are you doing this one?
Yes, I'm doing editing.
Oh crap! Sorry.
Yeah, don't
then
take
we'll-
over. You've been talking long enough. Like, God.
And then we'll come, after we render it out, we'll come to the editing phase, which I'll let you take care of.
Thank you. He talked forever, right? So, after Craig's done, he'll send it over to me, and I'll watch it and tell him if it sucks.
I'll send it to Molly too. She's part of this company.
I'm supportive.
No, this is my time to shine. Okay.
Kirsty's the evil one. Out of
Yeah,
the three of
I'm
us.
terrible.
They don't care.
Anyway, they don't give a shit. So, oh, sorry. Well, we said dicks earlier.
We were literally just talking about dildos.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, so he'll send it over to me, and I will make the intro cards and the ending cards. So, I mean, check out that. Isn't it great? I did that. And so we'll spend about actually like an hour talking about how we want this to look. We'll go through how big their head should be, if they should be in a certain order. And then we'll also talk about what we should name it, because, I mean, their titles of their videos are just like phallic, right? And we don't want to name them that. And pretty much a title has to be whatever it's about. You kind of want to be clickbaity. Like, I know it's like, that's a bad thing to say. You don't want to be clickbaity on the internet, because like those guys are like mean and they're dicks, right? But you kind of need people to watch your stuff, and so you have to be clickbaity. And so that's one thing. You kind of need to be a dick. So sorry. And then you need to also create things like this that people want to watch in the beginning and the end to make people know what it's about. And for these, I create them in Photoshop, so it's really easy. Pretty much just a few layers. Grab a text, whatever you want. This is actually the text we use for everything, so you'll see that on everything. And we'll like to, after we've done all this, we put it in Premiere, we add everything together. We make sure to let you know what video it came from. We try to tell you what part of the video it came from, but sometimes we don't do that, and the community yells at us for it. And they're like,
One guy yelled at us.
yeah, one guy yelled at us. We're like, now we gotta do this forever. We gotta let you know where it's at.
It's like, just watch the video.
You should watch the whole thing. It's great.
Yeah.
And then we'll also we'll tell you what our last animation was, or we'll show you like our originals because those need more views.
Yeah, don't watch that.
And then we'll just put it through Premiere. Premiere is really easy. Do you guys use Premiere?
Anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Final Cut?
Final Cut. I use Final Cut, so
Nope, good.
I'm that loser.
For video editing?
Yeah.
Who said that?
Yeah, you can do that.
Who said that?
The guy at the end.
At the end?
Yeah.
Okay. Blocked by one of our friends. Yeah, it's pretty good to do that too. I like it. I have a background in video editing, so I just Premieres.
Yeah, it's a lot
Yeah.
easier for us at least, because do things that you know how to do in
But
certain
once again,
programs.
like, use what free stuff you got.
Yeah.
Blender can do video editing. Boom. Everything in Blender,
Perfect.
and then get a sponsorship from Blender.
Yep. Because we said Blender like, what, 100 times in this panel?
Probably more.
Yeah, sponsored by Blender.
Yep,
And
very
Pizza-
much.
And Pizza Hut.
And Pizza Hut. Let's not talk about Pizza Hut.
All right.
Try the new Pizza Hut Bites.
So that's pretty much just our editing. It's not a lot, because obviously you create it in Blender, and you don't need to edit it together. It's not a YouTube channel where you need to vlog. What are you doing? Get away from
Going
that.
back to the phase. Are you about to do our last phase?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
We'll run out of time. Go for it.
All right, so how to post. Click it. Thank you.
There it is.
There it is. That's how you post. Panel over. No, I'm just kidding. Oh my God. Adam had a great video on how to create thumbnails. Anyone watch that?
Go to Adam Kovic's channel.
Yeah, he did a great video on how to create thumbnails. He talked very in depth in it. That's pretty much the gist of how you want to do it. You want to have a safe zone because YouTube will cut it off at some point, and also there'll be like how long it is at the bottom and all this other stuff. And whenever you're playing it, it'll have a bar on top, obviously, telling you what the title is. And so you want to have an obvious thumbnail where nothing's cut off, and you want to show everything you want to show. And so that's the gist of that. When we're submitting things to social media, this is pretty much how we do it on Twitter. We try to get Funhouse to notice us a lot because we're super thirsty, and we want them to hire us, obviously.
Thirsty.
Yeah, we're so thirsty.
It's
Guys, calm
ridiculous.
And we'll pretty much at all of the ones that are inside the video, and we'll make sure to use some kind of hashtag because people on Twitter use hashtags, whatever. And we'll also, before we, Molly, she's like, what? No. Before we submit an animation, we actually do a sneak peek for everyone in the community. We usually post that to Twitter, Reddit, Tumblr, all those other cool things to let people know that one of our animations are coming out, and it'll have a censored dick on all of them.
We're hiding them in for all the animations.
Yeah, we're going to put a censored dick in all of our animations now, and you have to find them, and you have to screen cap it at us, and we'll follow you. So that's how it's going to work.
Follow for follow.
Now
Yeah,
we gotta-
follow
now
for
we gotta
follow.
do that.
Yeah, now we got to do it because I said it.
All right.
The one
Promise.
guy that's seen us before, he's going to do that. Yes, I'm done. Oh my God.
The last phase is getting back to work. You finish an animation, you better start working on animation the next day.
Follow us on our social media because you should.
Yeah, that's all our social media. We're on pretty much everything. We're also on Periscope. I don't know why you didn't put that up there.
That was
Because that was yesterday. We got on Periscope yesterday.
Yeah, I know.
And I made this like a week ago.
Yeah, so we're about 20 minutes out, correct?
Yes, Kiwi. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiwi. And we're gonna go ahead and start doing some Q&A. There's a microphone in the middle. If anybody has any specific questions or any broad questions, you guys can pop up. And
Yeah,
ask us.
you can ask us something, or we'll just talk to you guys for a long
If you guys
time.
don't want to do that, we can just watch Funhouse.
Yeah, we can just watch Funhouse.
That's
Whatever.
what we do anyways.
Also, if you ask a question, I will absolutely fist bump you after you ask your question.
You're gonna fist him?
No.
What's
Fist
up, man?
Bump.
Go, parent, go.
Hello?
Calm down.
Go up there.
So,
Yes.
mostly for
Get up there. What?
Put your mouth in it.
like this?
Yes.
Is that
Yep,
okay?
that's good.
No. Was it hard, I guess, or difficult for you to kind of, I don't know, kind of break the realism of these real life people and turn them into kind of like these cartoony, chibi almost characters?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's for Molly.
That's
Yeah.
the simple answer. Yeah. Shut up, Kirsty. You don't do anything.
I am a professional actual designer.
Okay, so here's the thing is that I've been drawing for a very long time. Like since I can remember, I've been drawing. So once I got into Rooster Teeth, that was like my life where I just drew every single person in Rooster Teeth and drew every single character, every single person on Ruby and Achievement Hunter all the time. Fan art constantly, which is why they noticed me. So I had already kind of found my style. This, like what we do, is not how I draw in my free time, but the reason that those characters look that way is because they're simple enough for Craig to animate. They're simple enough to where their appendages can be bent in certain ways. It's just a lot easier that way if I simplify everything down into a chibi form. I try to keep those characters looking at least somewhat like the original people so they can at least tell who is actually on the screen. So, like I said, Bruce's gigantic, frightening forehead.
There
And
you
then
go.
Spool's ball cap and his squinty eyes and, you know, whatever else. Adam's broad shoulders. We actually saw Adam the other night, and I was like, oh my god, I have to fix how he looks, because Adam has giant shoulders, which I knew because of the videos, but he's got a little bitty waist. He's like shaped like a triangle, like this. So now I have to go in and change everything
Like
again.
exactly like a triangle.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And then we were like, wait, Bruce is taller than Adam, so we
Yeah.
can fix that as well.
Yeah.
Might do some changes.
Yeah.
So most of that is just me looking at their videos a lot and just looking at their faces, trying to simplify any way I can. Thank you.
Thank you.
You want to come up
You
get a
have to
fist
go
bump?
over there.
Come on, Nick.
Fist bump?
Come on, get your crap together.
Oh yeah.
Do it,
fist bump.
Molly.
Yeah.
What's up?
No,
Yay.
don't
All right.
I
For
give the best
most
fist bumps.
You don't want you.
animators and creators, they have someone who inspires them. Do you have someone who inspired you to start?
Gosh, so many people.
No one.
Walt Disney.
I mean, 2 years ago, I went to Monty had a panel about Poser, and he was, and he showed one of the Ruby trailers, and I was like, well, crap, that's awesome. And he showed Poser, and I was like, I'm gonna go try Poser, and I started, I was just like, maybe I can do some more animation stuff. A lot of like the animated adventures inspired me so much because I was like, this is so simple, and it's all on, it's all little jokes that you can add in, and all that kind of stuff. Also, Rice Pirate. Gosh, I feel terrible for not adding in. I've been watching cartoons as well for a long time. Like, one of my favorite shows is Regular Show, Adventure Time, Archer, which is really good and very simplistic, And so I always thought, like, if we can get away with a simple design and simple animation, we should. And we should focus on scripts and stuff instead of the animation stuff. It's cool, but it takes a long time. But yeah. Anybody inspire you guys to start doing stuff?
I think I feel like I inspire myself sometimes.
Oh my
Yeah, me
God.
too, man. Thanks.
So yeah, I mean, good cartoons is,
No.
is the big
Yeah.
thing.
You are never too old to watch cartoons.
Yeah.
Ever.
Also YouTube. Watch everything on YouTube.
Yes.
There are plenty of creators. Go to newgrounds.com.
Watch us.
Bam. There's every animation person you got.
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks
Thanks,
for the
man.
question.
Thank you.
Come get a fist bump.
You want fist
Yes.
bumps? Oh, yeah.
What's up, man?
Let's
Hey,
go,
You
Link.
didn't promise
So-
fist bumps.
So you guys use Blender, which has an open use policy and everything.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
Everything you do can be put out. You need to make money off it. But when you use the other programs like Photoshop and Premiere and everything, do you have to like call them and ask them to use their stuff, or is it just open use policy for them too?
You purchase a subscription
Yeah.
and say yes to their terms and services. So whatever I sign my life to, they got it. So So yeah, I mean that's how other programs work. Free programs always have their caveats too, you know. But most of the time they're really cool about it. But yeah, other stuff is, it's up to them. So, buyer beware, I guess.
Also, no one knows if you're using those. Like, you can't be like, yo, I made this in Photoshop.
Yeah,
but
they're
it's
not-
like a PNG
they're not gonna
file.
come out- they're
yeah,
not
they're
gonna
not gonna
come
come
out
and hunt you down.
But
Yeah.
yeah, come
They
get
don't
fist
care.
bump.
Come fist bump. Yes.
What's up?
Let's go.
My socks are really uncomfortable.
Oh, I'm
what
sorry.
are your guys' favorite cartoons?
Favorite cartoons, regular show, Adventure Time.
Gravity
Archer
Falls.
is like one of my.
Yeah, Archer.
100%.
Steven
Good.
Universe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Steven Universe pretty good. Rick and Morty.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite one?
Yeah, come on.
Huh?
He doesn't know.
What's
Come
some,
on,
that, what's
Nick.
some that you've watched
Is it
recently?
SpongeBob?
Ooh,
SpongeBob?
Hey.
Leo and Satan.
Neil and what?
Leo and Satan.
Aaron's got it.
Yeah. I've never.
Cool,
heard
man.
Of that.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
You're not gonna come
Sorry
fist
if-
bump us?
come here.
Come on.
Oh, okay.
Aw, Nick.
No,
Nick,
all right,
come
man.
on. I don't know you,
But if nobody's watched Rick and Morty, that's my favorite one right
Thank
now.
you, Nick.
Thanks, bro.
Bam. What's up, Aaron? I mean, person.
Hey, stranger.
Yeah. Hey. So you talked a little bit about actually like starting the company and all that. Could you go a little more in depth on actually how you started out and how you kind of put this all together, and just
It
some
was-
advice for people who want to start their own thing?
If you want to start a company,
Just
one,
No.
you have to have
No.
$25
Well,
and access to a courtroom in your district. You go up there, you fill out a paper that they have, write down the name and you sign it, then you give it to the person, give them $25, and then they send you something that says you're a business.
Also,
and it's that easy.
it is that easy.
It literally is that easy.
But to actually create a company, it's just an idea. Think of something, write it down, find some friends, and create crap. Like, you don't need it to be an official company. Like, for months, we called ourselves a company, and we weren't official. We were official, like, what, a month ago? Yeah, like a month
no,
ago.
we've been official the whole time.
Whatever. we became we became official like a month ago, but we were calling ourselves a company for a long time. So you don't need to do that to be a company. Oh, thanks, Parent.
It's all about the way that you present yourself too.
Yeah.
Like if you act like a company,
You are a company.
Nobody's gonna be like, what are you guys doing?
business cards. Those
Yes,
are good.
business cards. We all have business cards, and that makes you seem super professional. Everyone's like, whoa, and then you're like
Got it.
trying to get connections. Like this guy, he got our business card.
Did he?
No, he didn't. No, I'm kidding. I don't know, dude.
Calm down.
I don't know.
You're just
I'm
telling
gonna give
lies
everyone
now?
our business
So
card
it's,
in here.
It's just, I mean, it's as easy as anything else. You just look it up on Google and then do it.
Yeah, just do it.
Ju-
You said it.
What's up?
What up, dude?
So, I also use Blender a lot, mostly because I cannot draw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's okay.
that's
And-
cool.
Craig can't either.
I can.
What the hell?
You got burned.
You said
Got
it
me.
yourself like 2 days ago.
He says it every day.
All right,
Would you like
guys.
some-
All right,
would you like some
I'm
ice
sorry.
for that? But I use it because I can't draw, and so mostly the stuff I use it for is modeling, not doing actual motion animation.
Mhm.
So armatures and rigging are still very new to me, as well as just using keyframes in general. Right?
Yeah.
Because I also come from a film background where I was doing editing, not animation, like live action editing.
Mm-hmm.
So the actual creation of animation is it's much more intuitive to me because I can control everything, and you can't do that with real people,
Yeah.
actors.
Yeah.
So, so what sort of advice do you have for setting up like armatures, working with motion animation for beginners who haven't used computer?
Rigging's like, it's my favorite part. Like,
Really?
that's why I did a lot about it because it's probably one of the most, it's the most important part because things don't happen if it's not rigged. You know, that's 3D animation. Your thing, your model looks great, but right here, and so all it is watching the way that other people do it. And there's a million different ways to do it. There's rigs already made, like in Blender they have the easy IK rig, I think they have. And so load that up and then figure out how it works. Or go to Blend Swap and they have a bunch of rig things too. bring those in and see how people set those up, and then watch rigging tutorials and see how they set their characters up, or their, anything that they do, and then if most of the time in Blender, it's really cool because they'll give you their blend file, and then you can take it and you like deconstruct it and break it, and then be like, okay, well, download the file again and we'll try again, and it's deconstructing things. That's how you. It's like tinkering with anything. It's figuring out how someone else did it. That's much better.
If I've learned anything about rigging while I've been studying animation, it's that there is no cookie cutter technique to rigging. It's just as long as it works, it works.
Yeah.
Second question is, how do I learn to draw?
Oh,
Oh.
learn to draw. Okay. So
Your whole life you need dedicated to it.
Sketchbook.
So,
every sketchbook.
I'm not really qualified to answer this because I come from, my dad is also an artist, so I have it in my genetics already, which,
I
you
can
know,
answer it then.
but there are plenty of people out there who are great at what they do. There are some amazing articles about, I've seen guys who went to community college with stuff that looked like it was drawn by a 5-year-old, and then they, in a few years' time, with a lot of practice and hard work, they can draw stuff that's like beautiful illustration quality. It's quality.
Yeah, it's quality. But also, I'm gonna pipe in.
Yeah, go
sorry.
ahead.
I'm also an artist. But
Designer.
sorry, designer, whatever. But it takes time to be able to draw well. Like, you have to dedicate a lot of time to drawing. What?
All this crap takes time.
I know,
Where's the
right?
easy
It
answer?
does.
It needs to be easy and free.
What I've done in my time is I look at things that I like, and I break that down into why do I like looking at that, and I try to incorporate it into my own art.
And copy things.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Everybody,
Find something you like and redraw it or draw over it,
yeah.
and that's how you'll learn how to draw things.
A lot of people say don't copy other people's artwork.
Nah.
Don't copy people's artwork and post it on the internet and credit it as your own.
Yeah.
That's not good. But if you copy stuff in your own time, that's honestly, I found an artist on Tumblr that I really liked in my freshman year of high school, and I was like, okay, so it's time to stop drawing anime stuff and like actually like get down to business and learn anatomy and stuff like that. So
Like drawing classes.
yes,
Yes.
life drawing
Yes.
is so big.
If you can afford it, go to drawing classes.
Or just draw
If
your
you're-
friends.
yeah.
They love it. People are so narcissistic. Just practice drawing
Yeah.
on
Oh, is
them.
that what you asked me to post in?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was just some weird thing.
Fist bump.
Oh,
Fist
Yes.
bump.
Thank you for that question.
Thank you.
So,
All right, so I was wondering, I have a lot of trouble staying consistent when I draw. Every illustration that I create is like vastly different from the other, and it's not always intentional. So, have you had that problem, and how did you work your way
Oh
around
my
it?
god. I look back at stuff from a month ago and I'm like, oh my, ugh, why did I draw like that? That's disgusting. So yeah, everybody is inconsistent. The whole thing with animation and character design is that you have to stick to your guns on that. You have to talk to other people, see what works, what doesn't work in a character design, and you say, okay, I'm gonna stick to that. And oh, it's so painful. It's so painful to stay consistent, but once you get it down to a point where you can draw the same character the same way over and over again, then you're good, honestly. But if you ask me to draw how I draw those Bruce rigs or the Joel or anything like that, I would absolutely draw it differently because I don't really have to, because Craig takes care of the consistent thing with his 3D animation stuff. So I would just say, if you're trying to draw something consistently, draw it over and over and over again until you love drawing it, because if you don't love drawing it, you are going to hate every single moment that you are drawing that character.
Right, thank you.
No
any more
problem.
questions?
Fist bump.
What's up, man?
Yes.
Oh,
I'm
thank
just
you.
wondering if there's like a specific reason why you use Blender over After Effects. It seems like it would also.
Funhouse Funhouse, Blender over After Effects.
Yeah.
After Effects costs money. And
Okay.
yeah, well, and if we ever wanted to do 3D stuff, like if we like in South
Oh,
Park,
okay.
they have the whole
The whole background.
the city is 3D.
Mm-hmm.
If we ever wanted to do that, we'd have to switch over from After Effects.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the same. Like animating in After Effects is sort of the same.
You can,
Uh,
I mean, you can create those backgrounds in Blender and put them into After Effects. But I mean, there's not really a point if you can do everything in one program. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but After Effects is really cool to use for animating. It's nice. I like using After Effects, but I mean,
I think it's
it's
a little
just
bit more.
it's easier
And also, After Effects is a little bit more nested
Yeah.
animating. So you have to like go down a level and like, okay, well I'm animating this arm, and then you have to go up, come up back, and then you're like, okay, well I have to animate the body. With Blender, I go in there, I'm like, this looks okay. All right, let's move on. And so I can just everything's on the top. I don't have to think about what I'm doing.
Also with After Effects, to create really great animations, you have to buy the Puppet plugin, which is like it's expensive. And so, what?
In Blender, it's easier to make to render out your animations. So look for
Yeah.
maybe some 4K animations coming soon.
Yep.
We just figured out we could do that.
Also, just a note for all of you, if you are in college right now, because I see a lot of young faces, if you go to a school where they provide certain programs, take use of those programs because you're more or less paying for them.
Yeah.
So use everything that you can.
Yeah.
I'm the only one here who actually has access to like pretty much anything I want.
That's not true. I do.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
her work.
yeah,
does.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You
I-
do now,
What?
but because
I
of your
spend
job.
money on all my stuff.
Yeah, so it just for us, it kind of depends on who has access to what, and that's what we stay
Yeah.
consistent with.
Mhm.
Thanks.
Cool.
Fist
You want a
bump. Let's go. Let's go, blue hair.
Another question. We got to do this one fast. Is it a fast question?
Not really.
We'll answer it fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aside
It's
from
okay.
Hoping to get a job with Funhouse, how are you hoping to make this a viable business in the future? Like,
We make it every single week, and then they have to notice us.
Yeah. They've already noticed us, so it's okay.
Yeah, and then every time we get a chance, we see them. But I mean, RTA started out just
Yeah.
posting every week basically, and if you just keep making a lot of them, there's a market for it.
Yeah. The
people,
best.
people want to see it. They asked, people ask Jordan all the time, like, when are you gonna make some Funhouse animated? And we go, hey, they're already out. They're over here.
We do it.
And so, I mean, there's, it's there.
Thanks.
If there's a market for it, you can make it viable.
Also, whenever you're creating animations for, like, if you want to get hired by, like, Rooster Teeth or Funhouse, they want you to be consistent. You can't just put one out every, like, 5 months and be like, yo, hire me. Because they're
There's-
not going to do that.
There's a quick turnaround
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
Because, like,
that's also
everyone,
good.
a lot of people know how to animate, and they know how to create things, and they like Funhouse, but you got to be the fast one. You got to create it first. You got to create it more, and that's how they're going to notice you.
All right.
Is that it? Everybody good? Questions? If you
Cool.
need to ask us questions, you guys can follow us on social media and email us or there and stuff. If you want to come talk to us, we have business cards. You can email us directly. Anything like that. You guys got any specific questions?
Thank
you.
Thank you, everybody.
You guys are the bomb. Just saying.